The New York Liberty remain undefeated after surviving a tough test from the Golden State Valkyries on Thursday night, but they did it without Jonquel Jones, who sat out with a foot injury. Now, they're going to face their first back-to-back of the season against the Washington Mystics, a team featuring an impressive rookie in Sonia Citron. Now, joining me to break it all down is a women's basketball reporter who has covered the Liberty since 2019. You can see her work with the Next, Locked On Women's Basketball, and NBC Sports. The one and only Jackie Powell joins me now. Jackie, how you doing?
I'm well, Dexter. How are you?
I'm doing good. I know it's been a busy start to the W season for you, but we are happy for women's basketball, professionally, that is, back here. So it's good, and Liberty are looking good, Jackie. And we got to talk about the Liberty's most recent game because they held off a late push from the Valkyries to stay undefeated. What stood out to you the most about their resilience, I would say, in a game where they were without Jonquel Jones?
I think it was Brianna Stewart's desire to win at all costs. The Liberty were out rebounded in last night's game against the Valkyries, but they weren't out rebounded in the fourth quarter, especially when Stewart put extra effort in getting on the offensive glass. And she earned, I think, 7 points out of 9 attempts off the free throw line in the fourth quarter alone. So that really stood out to me. Also, bench contributions from Maureen Johannes and Rebecca Gardner in the third quarter was where they really shined. I mean, they scored points off of ball movement, which the Liberty really struggled to do in the majority of the game last night. I mean, I asked Stewie about it post game, and she said that the Valkyries were really blowing up a lot of their offense and a lot of their actions, and that ended up forcing Sabrina Ionescu to try to create more one-on-one than she usually has to.
Yeah, and those were really key. And Stewie getting to the line 9 times, like you said, in that fourth quarter, really impressive there. Now, we know Jonquel missed this game with a foot injury. Are there any long-term concerns about her health, and how careful do you expect the Liberty to be with her moving forward, especially during this early undefeated stretch?
So Sandy Brondello explained it to us as there was some discomfort in her right hamstring. And I think the reason why, so the injury report for today's or tonight's game against the Mystics was just released, and she is questionable once again. And so I think part of the reason why that distinction hasn't changed is because they were on a flight last night. And so sometimes when players are on flights, it can make injuries or discomfort even a little bit worse because when any human goes on a flight, it can swell different parts of their body. So I think it's still sort of in wait and see mode as of now. This isn't anything structural, but I think it's also Sandy Brondello and the basketball operations staff being very careful just with how many games they have going this week. And also, you look at who the opponents are. It's the Valkyries, the Washington Mystics, and the Connecticut Sun. And so those are not top three teams in the league or in net rating. So it makes sense why there is extra caution here.
No, definitely does. And, whether it's the hamstring connected to foot, any lower leg, any lower extremity injuries, teams always want to be careful with that. Now, you just mentioned the schedule. The Liberty, they're now going to head on Friday night into their first back-to-back of the season against the Mystics. What are the biggest challenges, maybe beside injuries, Jackie, playing on short rest? And how do you think Sandy Brondello will approach rotations here in this game on the back-to-back?
Well, I think a main issue is if both Jonquel and Niara Sabally are out again. I mean, that would be Niara Sabally out for her fourth game in a row. What that would mean is the team wouldn't really have a true center available to play. You have Jonquel and Niara. They don't only play center, but those are positions they do play, and usually they are the first two playing that role. Sandy Brondello often likes to go w with a smaller lineup. You put Brianna Stewart at the five, and then since Niara is questionable as well, Kennedy Burke has been getting that start, and so Kennedy Burke she's a big player, but she's not a center. She's a 3-4 swing woman who, can be a small forward, can be a power forward, and seeing her try to adapt to guarding the bigger players was something that I noticed against the Valkyries last night. There is Isabel Harrison. She will be available, but I think it was very clear that she didn't look super comfortable in her limited minutes. And it doesn't seem like she has earned Sandy Brondello's trust as someone who can come in and give productive minutes. So I wouldn't be surprised if both Jonquel Jones and Niara Sabally don't play tonight, that you see more run where you have Leo Phoebish sliding over to the 4. And then you have Kennedy Burke maybe at the 3 and Stewie at the 5. And so that's sort of the rotation we saw last night. I'd expect more of that as well.
All right, so see the Liberty playing a little bit smaller again, possibly tonight against the Mystics if Niara Sabally and Jonquel Jones are both out. As Jackie mentioned, both listed questionable for tonight's game. Now, speaking of that Mystics matchup, Jackie, rookie Sonia Citron, she's been a bright spot for Washington early on. What have you seen from her game that could test the Liberty, especially here on the second night of a back-to-back?
So the thing about Sonia Citron, there's a lot that impresses me about her. And I've watched her grow, ever since she was playing in high school. So for me, it's sort of really surreal to see her as a pro and to see her thriving. And so she is someone who just makes winning plays. Her basketball instincts and the way that she reacts throughout a game is well beyond her years. And so I think, you know, something about the New York Liberty is the majority of the players that do well in Sandy Brondello's system are players that are really instinctual and they think the game well. And so, Citron is someone who can catch a player sleeping. She's just that instinctual. So they're going to have to be, aware of what she can do. I think part of the reason why Sonia Citron and Kiki Uriah-Finn have been as successful as they've been is because there's just such a limited scout on them. And teams don't necessarily know yet how to stop them. That's sort of also part of the reason why we've seen so far down years from Camila Cardoso and Angel Reese. Teams know a little bit more what to expect when it comes to those two.
Yeah, no, and she's been one of those intangible rookies, you could say, thus far. I've really been impressed with the game. I agree with you. Winning type player, as we like to say about those kind of players in the W. Last thing for me here, Jackie. If the Liberty are going to stay perfect, which the fans want them to do, they want to see them move to 6-0 in the season. What do you see as, I'll say, the three most important keys to beating the Mystics down in the DMV tonight?
So, rebounding the ball after what we saw last night, and because the Liberty are playing a slightly altered, more spaced out offense, the rebounding has gone down because of that, because you're not always seeing, at least one post closer to the basket. They're much more spaced out and spread out. So rebounding the ball, also another key attached to that is just the effort plays. And so rebounding falls underneath that as well. The Mystics are a really hungry team. They play very hungry. They don't get complacent. So if the Liberty are ready for the fact that they're just going to play hard, so it's, those 1% 50-50 balls, hustle plays. That will also be another key. I'd say the third key is just to keep moving the ball. The offense got really stagnant at points last night. And so just continue to find that open player. If Sabrina Ionescu sees two come to her, there's going to be someone who's open.
All right, we will see if they are able to do that. All the keys that Jackie mentioned. Liberty looking to move to 6-0 on the season with a win down in the DMV tonight, the first back-to-back of the season, and we'll see how that goes for the Liberty. That is Jackie Powell. Check out her work, one of the best covering the W. Jackie, glad to finally talk some women's hoop with you for the first time here, and hopefully I will see you at a game soon. Thank you so much.
Sounds great, Dexter. Thanks for having me.